I know, it's emotional.
A small passport photo of her and her sister takes Giselle del Carmen Vivanco Oliva back 50 years. Some good memories back home in Chile.
I had lots of family around, lots of birthday parties.
But also tragic ones.
I remember my cousin who went missing. I remember the last time I saw him walking out the door because he was hiding. I knew they were like, something was not right.
Tragedies far too common after September 11th, 1973, when the Chilean government was overthrown by the military, the elected president replaced by dictator Augusto Pinochet, spurring a campaign of violence against those with leftist associations.
But one thing that is very prominent in my memory is the military coming into the house when my sister Maritza, my sister Yvette, we were sleeping, and them coming upstairs with their face all painted black, looking for weapons and arms. And I remember them beating up my mom, grabbing us and just like throwing us from the bed.
Vivanco Oliva's family was among 7,000 Chileans that fled to Canada.
We did experience racism at that time. You're talking the 1970s. We got sent to Alberta.
Now she's a mom living in Burnaby and working to support at-risk women. She admits the weight of an uprooted past can still be heavy.
I feel that my daughter can call Canada home because she's born here. But myself, I still feel like I kind of live in limbo.
We had so many hangout areas here, as little bunch of kids.
For Angelo Moroni, landing in Canada was an adventure. His family settled in this downtown East Side housing complex.
I didn't know how long we were going to stay here, and I trusted my mom and my father fully, so I basically enjoyed it. I enjoyed the discovering of new cultures, discovering new place, new languages.
But he says his parents had a harder transition. His father was targeted and imprisoned before coming to Canada.
The torture scarred him, of course, and his medication was alcohol.
Moroni now works as an addictions counselor in the same neighborhood where he grew up.
I feel blessed and grateful that I'm supporting and working here because it feels like home. And I understand some of the struggles that people here in the downtown East Side, they experience.
My brother, and this is me.
69-year-old Gloria Diaz has raised children and grandchildren since coming to Canada.
I'm happy that I ended up here. That it was difficult, yes, it was difficult because by comparison, my brothers and sisters were assimilated faster than me. I was with my mind in the old country and physically here until one day I said, okay, I have to stop this.
She says she's built a community here, but there's still pain.
It's a lot of mending to do. The justice have come slowly but steady.
And there are still people needing to speak up and speak out and remind us.
It's a time which it's our responsibility for the children of the exile to have a voice, because I don't think we've ever had a voice, right?
50 years passed, thousands dead, and 1,300 still missing, with countless more stories waiting to be heard. Jon Hernandez, CBC News, Vancouver.
Earlier, we told you how Vancouver's Chilean population is looking back on the 50th anniversary of the military coup in that country. Jon Hernandez spoke to Gloria Diaz, who eventually fled to Canada. She left a country shattered, with friends and family still behind. Here's some of her memories of that time.
The missiles, for instance, that was the first shock to me. I was few blocks away, so I hear very clearly when the missile struck the building. Never heard anything like that ever before or after. So when I talk about September 11, the first memory is that it was 3 missiles against the building. Very shocking, very scary. The message was very clear. We are now in charge, so you obey. To terrorize the population, and sure enough, they got that. Was not resistant to the coup d'etat. Nobody was organized. Let's say people that were supporting Allende, was no one organized. How? In the first place, you're talking an army, and you're talking the police and the Navy and the Air Force. How could you confront an incredible amount of people with training, big weapons? Impossible. So we went home. But things didn't stop there. For instance, my mom told me that the tanks went by our house, but the streets are very narrow. So for a tank to go through, it felt like it was an earthquake, because everything trembled with the weight of this thing. What's the purpose of that?
Yeah.
My mom and dad flew with my two youngest sisters in September 1975. And my brother and I were left behind, because at the time, if you were 18, you have to apply by ourselves. Even though we apply all together, but then the government took the time to interview us and whatever other things, investigate us, I guess, and then we flew a year later. And it was voila, and we landed in November 26 in Edmonton, and everything was white. Super cold. So the question is, how are we going to survive here? It's so cold. But sure, we were so happy to be with Mom and Dad again.